everyone, this is Mrs. Oder again. We're going to do some science now. I have some really exciting things to show you. We're going to talk about the Earth, we're going to talk about rocks, and most importantly in my funnest, we're going to talk about volcanoes. So we're going to talk about the Earth and resources in the Earth and all kinds of fun things about rocks. See you in a minute. Hi and welcome back. It's Mrs. Oder here, and I brought some really cool looking rocks to show you. I love going out in the garden or just outside or going for a walk and looking for interesting rocks. I brought you this rock just so that you could see the different layers in this rock. I thought this was really cool, and all of the layers are formed from water and wind. It's called erosion. So the first thing I want you to do when you get your own rock later with your family is I want you to measure your rock. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do that. Using this ruler, I'm going to start at 0. Let me just show you. I'm going to start here at the very end. That's 0. And I'm just going to measure the widest part of the rock. You and your family will be doing this together. Okay, so 0, and I'm going to measure across. I'm not going to worry about all the little marks in between. So this rock is about 4 inches long if I go all the way down to the end. Okay, so I want you to measure your rock. I'm going to show you this rock. I also thought this rock was pretty cool. It looks like maybe it was formed from snow or ice, doesn't it? It has crystals in it, and I just thought this was a really cool rock. So again, I want to measure this rock, and it's about the same size as the other one. Now we're going to talk about texture. Texture means how something feels. So if we're looking at this rock, and you pick up your rock when you get yours, this rock feels very smooth to me. It is very smooth. I can't feel any sharp edges, and if I turn it over, it's the same thing. Very smooth on all surfaces. So I would call this rock smooth. Now this rock, what do you think? I think I would call this rock rough. It has a lot of sharp edges, and it has a lot of dents in it and a lot of holes in it. I think this rock is rough. Okay, now I have one more rock to show you. It's an arrowhead. Arrowheads were used a long time ago for that very purpose, to be shot through, to be used in a bow, and to hunt for animals for food. This arrowhead is very much smaller than the other rocks, and it's a little over 1 inch. Now let's talk about the texture. Oh, what do you think? What would you call it? It's not really smooth. It has some sharp edges, and it's a little bit bumpy. That's a good word. I think I'm going to call this one bumpy because it doesn't have a lot of edges, but it does have some. Okay, now this is the part that I think is really fun and your parents can do with you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what we call luster. So that means what color will this be if I add some liquid? The liquid that I'm going to add is vinegar. If it bubbles, it's going to have more luster in it. Okay, let's see. I'm going to do it over this bowl so that we don't spill liquid all over. Ooh, did you see any bubbles? I didn't either. So this doesn't have a lot of luster. Now, let's look at this rock. Let's make a prediction first. Do you think this one is going to have more bubbles? I don't know. Let's see. Oh, I see some bubbles. I don't see a lot of bubbles. Do you notice, though, that this one has holes in it because the vinegar is pouring out the other end? Did you know that some rocks are called porous? Porous means there's holes in them. You didn't see any of the liquid go through with the other rock, did you? Okay, so you're going to do all of those experiments with your family. Now the last experiment I want to show you, the last thing I would like you to do with your rock when you go out to your garden or out just outside and you find a nice rock, I would like you to see if it sinks or it floats. Okay, now I know that you're in kindergarten, but that you've played with rocks enough that you know that most rocks sink, right? And I think we need to talk about what makes them sink. What do you think? I think how much they weigh or how heavy they are might make it harder for them to float, and they would rather sink to the bottom. What do you think is going to happen with this rock? It feels kind of heavy to me, and we're going to put it in some water right here. You tell your family, what do you think is going to happen? Okay, here we go. Ready? Oh, right to the bottom. Did you see that? I tried to make it float and it went right to the bottom. It's too heavy. Now this rock, remember, is porous, so it has some holes in it. I wonder if holes in a rock make it sink or float. Tell your family what you think. Are you ready? Okay, I'm going to put it in the same way. Let's see if this rock sinks or floats. Ready? Yell it out. Sink or float. What do you think? Here we go. Oh, and right to the bottom again. I guess this rock is also too heavy, even though it got some water in it. Okay, so I'm going to show you one more type of rock, and then I'm going to tell you what I want you to do. I've kind of told you throughout this video, but I'll repeat it one more time. I know you're probably wanting me to test this, aren't you? It is a smaller rock. It's not so heavy. What do you think? Is our arrowhead going to sink or float? Using your very smart scientific brain, you would say, okay, now let's see, ready? Oh, it was smaller, but it still went right to the bottom, still sank. Now I have this special rock. This rock is called pumice stone, and it has lots of little holes. Can you see all those lots of little holes? And you know what? It's also fairly light. Fairly light. Okay, so again, one more time. Make your best guess with your big scientific brain. Ready? Sink or float? Let your family know. What do you think? All right, here we go. It floats. It floats because it's light and it has millions of holes in it. So when you go to do your project today, I want you to get at least 2 rocks. I want one of your rocks to be a nice pretty rock, and the other rock to be something kind of unusual. When you get your rocks, do the same things that we've just done. Measure your rock. Talk about the surface of your rock. Is it smooth or is it rough? Maybe if you have some vinegar, pour the vinegar over and see if you can get any of them to bubble. And do your sink or float experiment with your family. This is the first day of science. I'll see you again on day 2. Bye-bye.